Hello and welcome back to StreamGlue.com. In this lecture, we're going to learn about different Maven commands that we're going to use in real-time projects. So now we learned about what Maven is. We also installed Maven for Windows and Mac. Now it's trying to actually try to explore Maven commands and how useful it is in your real-time projects. Okay, by the end of this lecture, you're going to really appreciate what Maven does, and you're going to use it in real time, and you're actually going to use it forever. So before we actually learn about Maven commands, I want to show you how you can actually create a Maven project. So now let's go back to our IntelliJ in here. And since you could see here, I've got this project that we learned for our Java class, right? So now we're going to actually create a Maven project. So we're going to do File, New, and Project. Then you're going to click Maven in here. Then you can see here, it's selected Java version 9. So if you have another version, you could probably pop it here. It's going to pop up here. Then if you want to do a different version of Java, you can click Select New and select different version as well, right? And if you wanted to create from the archetype, which just means like if you want to set up like all the Maven stuff set up already, you could select from create from archetype, and it's trying to load archetype. For some reason, the Maven archetypes is kind of taking a long time to download. Okay, so I'm just going to skip that for now and click next. And here you have a group ID, right? So basically, group ID is your project identifier, right? So if you let's say if you're working on a real time, you're going to have this formation like com and whatever your company name. Let's say my company is Selenium Guru, and your project name, let's say Udemy. And here I'm actually going to do Udemy Selenium Java, something like that, right? So here in the website, right, we do seleniumguru.com. So normally in the standard Java projects, they do the opposite, which is com, the company name, and whatever the project name, right? So I have com.seleniumguru.udemy. This is my artifact, udemy-selenium-java. So artifact ID is basically your identifier, project identifier, right? Or your artifact identifier, your ID of the artifacts. Provide a udemy-selenium-java, and version is what version of the artifact is, right? Since we're creating a brand new project, it says 1.0. But once you keep building add new stuff on your projects, you can keep incrementing your version. So I'm actually going to click next. And you can see here, it did not like that dash, but that's fine. And here, I'm actually going to select to see Udemy Selenium Java, Udemy Selenium Java, right? So this is the project location. It's actually going to save the project. Documents, Udemy Selenium Java folder, and this is going to be my project. If you want to select and save it in different directory, you can click on that, and you can go Documents, and you can select whatever you want. All right, so then I click Finish. And here it says that Udemy Selenium is not created, does not exist, but it will be created by IntelliJ. So I'm going to click OK. Then here, I already have this open, so I'm actually going to click this window in here. As you can see here, it created this pom.xml file for me, right? The reason why it did that is because I'm actually creating a Maven project. I created a Maven project, and Maven requires a pom.xml. This is the pom file here, as you can see, pom.xml. And normally in your real-time project, you're going to have main and test, right? So in the test, you're going to have all your tests. So now, basically, the first thing I'm actually going to do is I'm going to add all the artifacts or dependencies for my project, right? So what I'm actually going to do here, as you can see here, as soon as I do this, it says Maven project needs to be imported. Import changes, enable auto import. This is the pop-up that's coming from the IntelliJ. So I'm actually going to click enable auto import. Here, I'm actually going to add dependencies in here, right? So I'm actually going to type dependencies. As soon as I do that, you have to close this dependencies. This is an XML file here, right? And as you can see here, this is a group ID is my project ID, group ID in here. Artifact ID is my artifact ID that I provided. Version is the version. In here, I'm going to provide all the dependencies. So in here, I'm going to need a couple of dependencies, right? So first thing, I'm actually going to running JUnit test in here. So I'm going to need JUnit. Then the other thing is that we're going to run our Selenium test later on. So we're going to install Selenium. We're going to need also Selenium dependencies as well. What I'm actually going to do is now I know that I need a JUnit and I need the Selenium Java, right? So basically, you're going to do is you're going to go Google. I'm actually going to do google.com here, and in here I'm going to do JUnit Maven. If I type that, you're going to get this Maven repository JUnit, right? So you click on that, then you're gonna see all your latest JUnit that they have. So right now the latest one is 4.12. So if you click on there, you're gonna see this nice dependency format that we need, right? So here, as you can see, group ID is JUnit, artifact ID is JUnit, version is 4.12, scope is test. We're gonna use it for test, right? So all I need to do is basically copy this, right? Then I'm gonna go back into our IntelliJ and just replace that. So now I've got this JUnit dependency, right? So all this does is, as soon as I have that, it's going to install JUnit 4.12 for me, right? I do not have to manually install it, right? That's the power of using Maven. So once you have JUnit, right, next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do Selenium Java. And you can see there's a lot of Selenium Java dependencies. I only need this one here. So as you can see here, the latest one is 3.8.1. So I'm actually going to copy this part in here. I'm going to go back into our IntelliJ and paste it here, right? So now I've got the Selenium Java and I've got the JUnit, right? So now all I have to provide is JUnit test in here. So for that, I'm actually going to go back in here, open recent. So the test that we created was in this Selenium Java project. So to save some time, I'm actually going to do is copy this JUnit test in here, right? Copy that. Then I'm gonna open my Udemy Selenium Java again. So I'm actually gonna do new window. Okay, so if you do new window, you can have two windows, right? But it's gonna take up your computer memory. Just make sure you have enough memory. So in here, I'm actually going to paste that. So let's see if I can paste it. So now, as you can see here, I've got this addition JUnit test in here and all this test in here. So I do not have anything. We're not going to worry about that. We're just learning how you can use Maven commands for now. I've got this JUnit test, and you can see here, if you click in here, it's not throwing an error because it did install JUnit for me, because this is a Maven project and I already said enable auto import. So it's importing the JUnit and Selenium automatically. If you wanted to, let's say you do not do enable auto imports, you can also manually import all the dependencies, install all the dependencies by going to this folder, right click and do Maven and re-import. So once you do that, it's gonna install. As you can see here, it's running, it's scanning the file, it's finding all the dependencies from out in the internet and installing it in your folder. One way you can find out if your dependencies installed properly is you click on this external libraries. Then you're gonna see JUnit 4.12, which I did here. And I also have Selenium HQ in here. So I installed Selenium Java 3.8.1, but it had all the other dependencies, so it installed all the other dependencies for me. So now with this pom.xml, I was installing all the dependencies and all the jar files that I needed. So now let's go back into our PowerPoint here. Now we're going to learn about the Maven commands. So now we learned about what Maven is, right? We also created a Maven project. Now it's time to actually get hands dirty with the Maven commands. The first one is Maven clean. It cleans up the artifacts created by prior builds. Okay, what that basically means is, so now let's go back into our IntelliJ in here, right? So Maven clean actually cleans up your whole project. Deletes the jar file, kind of cleans up your project. So now what I'm actually going to do is, I'm actually going to go new window in here, and in here I'm actually going to go documents, Udemy Selenium Java, and let's list it. And I'm actually going to go Udemy Selenium Java in here. So let's go to that, Udemy Selenium Java. So now I'm in this project directory in here. So when you do Maven commands, you have to be inside the project directory. Udemy Selenium Java is my project directory, right? And your POM file has to be in this project directory. If you POM file it inside SRC, it will not work. POM file has to be inside this Udemy Selenium Java, but outside the SRC. So now let's go back in here, and all I'm going to do is, first I want to check Maven version is there. All right, Maven is good. I'm going to do Maven clean. Run this. So as you can see here, I did Maven clean and it gave me this nice format in here. You could see here, Maven clean cleaned up the project in here. It says build success. I was able to clean successfully. This Maven clean plugin clean, it was successful. So the next thing here is validate. So it's validate the project is correct and all necessary information is available. Second one is compile the source code of the project The fourth one is test the compiled source code using a suitable unit testing framework. This test should not require the code to be packaged or deployed, right? So basically what I'm actually going to do is line by line. So first I'm actually going to do Maven validate. So this Maven validate basically validates if your project is correct and all the plugins are being installed, all the dependencies are installed correctly. Maven compile, right, compiles your project, compiles all your code, and make sure you have no errors, right? And there's no error, as you can see here, it says build success. Then you're going to do Maven test, right? So Maven test basically runs all your tests, right? You can see here it's saying that Maven compiler plugin failed. Compilation failure. Source option 1.5 is no longer supported. Source option 1.5 is no longer supported. Use 1.6. So it's failed when I actually try to run my Java test process. As you can see here, right? It says build failure. So it basically failed when I try to run Maven test. So you could also through an error, it's saying source option 1.5 is no longer supported, use 1.6 or later, right? So now let's see in our Maven project in here, see what happened in here. I'm actually going to go to pom.xml and see what I did wrong. Okay, so what I did here is I have a dependencies, right? So Maven clean worked, Maven validate worked, Maven compile worked as well, but Maven test is not working, right? Let's go back in here. Maven test did not work. The reason why that is, in order to run the JUnit test, you're going to need a compiler, right? So that I'm going to actually create another tag in here, build, and here I'm going to add a plugin. So you're going to have to type this actually, and you do not have to do it all over time. So this is actually, you're trying to run your unit test, right? And it's going to need the plugin. So I'm actually trying to put the plugin in here, okay? And here the plugin also has this group ID, okay? And in here, I'm actually going to do org Apache. All right, and here it's going to be plugins. It's a group ID, and the artifact ID is going to be Maven compiler plugin, right? And in here, version, I'm going to do 3.0, and in here, I'm actually going to do configuration. And in here, I'm going to do source 1.6. And here, I'm actually going to do target 1.6. What basically happened is 1.5 plugin was installed, right, with this IntelliJ and Java project automatically. It was default, right? However, when I run Maven test, right, it's asking for 1.6, right? In that case, I have to actually say, okay, I'm going to get this Maven plugin and I'm going to actually use 1.6, right? So I can find this Maven compiler plugin just like we did before, right? You go in here and do Maven compiler plugin, and it's going to go back in here and you can grab the latest one here as well, right? Just grab that one. Let's grab that and just paste it there. So here, right, I'm actually needing only the group ID and artifact ID. So I'm actually going to copy. So you have this Maven compiler. All I'm going to change is 3.7.0. Okay, I only need a plugin, right? So I'm actually going to delete that. This is a plugin, and I'm actually using 1.6. All right, so now let's go back into our command prompt down here, and let's try to first compile. All right, compile passed. Now let's try to test. So as you can see here, right, once I provided this plugin, for the compiler plugin 1.6, right, we were able to run our JUnit test, right? And this things kind of happens pretty much every day in your real time, right? You just look into the errors, right? And basically figure out what the errors is saying, and you actually search online, you try to find some help from your friend or Google, do everything and try to fix it, right? And that's basically what happens every day. And we did it just right now. We were able to run our unit test using the Maven project, right? So now let's go back into our PowerPoint again. The next one here is package. So it takes the compile code and package in its distributed format, such as jar file. right? Second one is integration test. Basically, you can use this if you have integration tests, right? So we have JUnit tests, which could be your unit test, right? But you could have integration test as well, right? In that case, you would actually run integration test, which we're going to actually learn in our automation classes in future. Verify is actually run and checks to verify the package is valid and meets quality criteria. Install the package into the local repository for use as a dependency in other projects locally. And deploy, it's done in integration or release environment, copies the final package to the remote repository for sharing with other developers and projects. So now what that basically means is, I'm not going to do everything in here, but when you do Maven package, right? So right now, in our projects, we only have test, right? Well, let's say in your real-time project, you're a Java developer and you have all your code, right? And you want to deploy that code in the production environment, right? Basically what happens is, you're going to actually do it in dev, right? Then you're going to do it in QA, then in production, right? Then when you actually deploy into the different environment, right, you actually create a jar file or war file or tar file. Those are kind of the compiled GIF file for your whole projects, right? So the Maven package would do that for you. So if I do Maven package, it would actually create a GIF project or GIF file, the compiled file for you. As you can see here, right, when I run Maven package, it created a jar file for me, right? And that jar file is inside this target and right here, right? Then what happens in real time is you can actually deploy this to the dev environment, right? Same thing, you do a QA environment and you have a production environment. In some cases you're going to do war or tar. Right now we're just doing jar here. That's how you can actually do package, right? So let's go back into our PowerPoint again. Integration test, like I said, you're actually going to do integration test. We don't have integration test right now, so we're not going to worry about that. And verify, right? So if I do Maven verify, it's going to actually make sure their package is valid or not, right? So it does all the tests and everything is good here. And Maven install, okay? So basically what it does, it actually installs all the dependencies for you in your local repository, so you can actually run it, right, without actually downloading dependencies. Last one here is deploy, right? So let's say you created a jar file and you want to deploy it to different server, right? In that case, you can actually use deploy. So in real-time project, you're going to use Nexus Artifactory. So basically what happens is you actually create a jar file and you're copying that jar file into the different environment or different source, right? In that case, you can use Maven deploy. So that is actually the main commands of Maven. Okay, there's also a lot of other different commands, but those are the main commands. Okay, you can go online and do Maven and actually look for different other commands that are useful for you. So the other important thing that I wanted to show you here is we ran one by one, right? But you can also run everything together like here. First, I want to do Maven clean compile. I want to test, then I want to package, right? So you can run all this and it will do all the stuff for you. First it will clean it, then it will compile it, then it will test it, then it will create a package for you. So you can add all this different commands together as well. Now, as you can see here, with the Maven, I was able to download all the dependencies for me, right? All the required plugins, dependencies, it installed all the different dependencies for me. Also, with the Maven, I was able to run my whole project using the terminal, right? I do not have to go into IntelliJ and right-click and run my test, right? All I had to do was go Maven in here and just do Maven test, right? If you want to clean it, do Maven clean. If you want to do build, you do Maven build, right? So as you can see here, right, with Maven, we were able to not only download all the dependencies, but we were also able to clean our project, build our project, create a package for our project, as well as test our project as well. And this is what you do in real time, right? Almost 90% of the projects say Java projects are using Maven as their build tool, right? With Maven, there comes a lot of helpful resources, okay? And you can use it a lot in order to simplify your jobs, right? In your real time, you're going to be using Maven every time. Every time you write code, you want to test it, you're going to do Maven test. Every time you want to build a project, you're going to do Maven build. So you're going to be using all the time as Java developer. Or your automation engineer, you're going to be running your test all the time. All right, so that's it for this lecture. I hope you guys understood the importance of Maven. You understood what Maven is. You also learn how you can create a Maven project. And you also learn how you can actually run your test using Maven. That's it for this lecture. I will see you guys in our next lecture.